You're about to listen to an archived episode of The Night Shift with Zeno Hiroman. This is brought to you commercial-free by the Surfcast Podcast. If you're interested in more historical, educational, and entertaining surf fishing content, check out weekly episodes of the Surfcast Podcast available today on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts, including www.surfcastpodcast.com.
Welcome to another episode of Night Shift Podcast, brought to you by Surfcasters Journal magazine at surfcastersjournal.com. My guest today is a personal friend, Russell Paoline, better known as Big Rock. He makes Big Rock plugs. Russ, welcome to the Night Shift Podcast.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for having me here.
Nice to see you, by the way. It's been a while. We missed you at the show. I don't know what the hell's going on in your life, so I'm looking forward to getting all the details. I know it's a lot of shit, and you went through some changes in life between the retirement and all the other stuff.
Oh yeah, a lot going on, man. Things are starting to settle back in though.
That's good. Listen, give me a little bit of a background on I'd like to know on how everybody starts in this sport. So just out of curiosity, like give me some background here.
Well, I've probably been fishing since I was 5 years old. That was quite a while ago. I kind of got involved with plug building out of necessity. I just wasn't able to get what I wanted when I wanted it, and I decided if somebody else can do it, so could I. And I decided I was going to take a shot at it.
Is this? I mean, did you start freshwater fishing as a kid, or were you like a beach guy all the time? I mean,
no, I actually started with salt. My father had a friend that had a boat. We used to go out a lot of times in Barnegat Bay and do a lot of fishing in the bay. And I didn't really get into freshwater fish until recently. So I've been pretty much a salt guy my whole life.
So you live in Trenton now, or that area? Actually, not in Trenton. You were a cop in Trenton, but
right,
the South Jersey. So you grew up in a Raritan Bay area?
No. I grew up right there in Trenton.
Oh, okay.
I was born and raised in Trenton. I live in Hamilton Township now.
Long ass ride. What I'm saying is with your dad, right?
You know what? If we head east straight line, 35, 40 minutes, we're at the beach. So it's really not that bad.
Right. And your dad, big influence on you, I assume?
Yeah. He definitely was.
I've seen some pictures. He looks like a really tough guy.
He was a good guy, man. Very, very tough man. Very tough man. If there's anybody I've ever admired, it was him.
And how did you get from the fishing on a boat to the surf? How did that progression happen?
Well, that was kind of natural progression. As I got older, I started going to the beach myself, and when I could drive, and I started seeing the guys surf fishing all the time. So I thought I'd take a try at it, and I loved it, and we went from there. So pretty much really from the surf, I didn't start till I was probably like around 18 years old.
So what you're saying is you were taking chicks to the beach under the guise of you going fishing.
You're very perceptive.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think so. You hold on. I've seen some of your cooking stuff, so yes. I know that you are an expert home chef. But I do also know you have some background in that, right? Did you work in restaurants as a kid, or?
Not as a kid. I used to work as a bouncer in a lot of nightclubs, and a couple of places I worked at had big restaurants in them, very popular places in our area. And between what I learned from my family and what I was able to pick up at those places, I'm at where I'm at now.
Gotcha.
Definitely not a chef. I'm a cook.
No, listen.
Don't insult the chef by calling me one.
No, listen. Your stuff looks really good, okay? I enjoy that. And for those of you who don't know Big Rock, he is really, really big man. I mean, really big man. And what are you? You did powerlifting all your life? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I started when I was about 17 years old. Probably stopped when I was right around 49 or 50.
Yeah, I do remember you stopped at one point. Did you rejoin it later as like a senior circuit stuff or no?
No, you know what? My body'd had enough. I did enough damage to my joints over the years. I had some heart issues, and now I walk and I circuit train just to stay fit. I had to take all that weight off. I was like 315 pounds. So now I'm down to about 230. So
Oh wow, that's a big drop. Sometimes I have all these pictures from all the shows that we did, and my son next to you, and I can see your progression. He's growing, and you're shrinking
Exactly. Now I'm getting shorter.
and thinner, probably healthier. You know what it is? I mean, what did you were a police officer in Trenton all
Yes,
your
I
life in that
was.
area?
Yep, 25 years.
That's a fun place to be a cop, I assume. I'm not going to ask you for any stories because we can be here all night.
It was interesting. There's not much I missed in my career, so.
Now, tell me about how did you get into plug building? I understand it's by necessity, but it's got to be some kind of a process here.
You mean as far as process on my end goes?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll get into specific building stuff, but like, how did you get as a kid surf fishing, into getting into making plugs? I know it's by necessity, but there's got to be a way of going about it. And did you buy a lathe or did you just carve it or what happened?
Well, I started off with some broomsticks and a knife, probably the way every other plug builder did, and they kind of worked. And we get spray paint and spray them, put screw eyes in, and probably after the first couple of seasons, I was afraid to go home because my father's garden tools didn't have any handles on them. So that's where it started, I guess. And then I just decided I was going to do it. I made my mind up and pulled the pin. I bought a lathe.
But you built them just for yourself, I assume, in the beginning, just like everybody else?
Oh, yeah. I started in about 95, and I don't think I sold one till probably 2000, maybe 2001. But it was just for me, and then as I got a little better and they got better, I would share them with friends and started having success. So it was a very long, arduous testing process for these pieces.
Who was there? Was there a particular guy who had influence on your building or whatever? Who you look up to at those days?
Absolutely, that was Lefty Carr, the famous Lefty.
Tell me about him. I let's assume I don't know anything about the man.
He had a way of understanding how things worked in the water. And he could also translate it into design process that made those things work. He could be an ornery son of a bitch from time to time. But he was a really good guy. Really good guy, and he shared a lot.
Were you guys in the same club together?
We were both in the Asbury Club for a while, but I had actually met him quite a while before that. He had given me one of his plugs on the beach. And I fished this thing until it practically didn't have no paint left on it. It was destroyed. I was still catching fish on it, and one of those Jersey bluefish came and bit it off, and it was gone. Now, I don't know how to find this guy. I don't know where he is. I ask around. Say, oh, you got to go to the Asbury show, and you got to get in line and you wait. Well, I guess I didn't get the concept that I had to start camping out the night before because I just couldn't get one. And I decided if I can't get them, I'm going to make them.
Now, your plugs and Lefty's are not nearly the same design. Like Lefty had a specific design. If I remember, I'm not a huge Lefty that I have a knowledge, but I've seen his plugs over the years and the lips and stuff. Yours are not necessarily looking like his.
No, we definitely went at things from a different kind of approach. They were looking for different things in their plugs than I wanted in mine. So we're kind of like, they were always for lightness because we were always fishing mullet runs and peanut bunker runs in the fall. And they wanted small, light plugs that would float high in the water. And some of their plugs only weighed an ounce and a quarter, to depend on whose design it was that they made. I wanted something that I could fish in structure and in current, and something that I could bring all the way into the beach without having the waves beat it out. So that's where my thought process was going with it. I made mine heavier, a little bit bigger, and I worked in the design so they would perform like I wanted them to.
They are uniquely designed a little bit round. I always called lefties, and this is no insult by any means, because they're one of the greatest plugs for the areas they will fish, are potato chips plugs. Like you said,
Oh yeah.
ounce and a quarter. You take a 11-foot heavy rod or a medium, you can't really do much with that rod,
No, they were designed for 8.5 foot, 9 foot rods at the most, and light tackle. But that's we don't have much around here except for we're sand beach. So generally speaking, unless we have a storm or a lot of wind or big water, we're fishing calm conditions. 4 feet might be normal for you. 4 feet's kind of big for us. So depending on where we're at.
Prevailing wind in the summer, or basically most of the time from spring to fall, is southwest. What does it do to the Jersey Beach, to the surf? Not much.
Southwest doesn't. They say
No,
it
no, no.
does.
I'm not even asking you in terms of fishability.
Okay.
I haven't even got to that.
Okay.
I'm thinking strictly in what does it flatten the surf, or does it make it? By us, southwest wind will rise the water. It will be a nice white water, big waves, because it's blowing right at us.
No.
You got the diagonal.
Yeah, west wind flattens us right out. West wind on most of the beaches I fish is blowing directly at your back.
Right. And
Good
the
for
southwest, so southwest also doesn't create any big water.
Nah,
It's
that's
basically
coming over your right shoulder. Unless you have something with a northeast component in it, it's not helping
Yeah.
any.
So my point is, if the prevailing wind all summer and fall and spring is southwest, you're going to have generally flat conditions, which why lefties plugs and style of those plugs would work out. Was there any other builders in those days when you started that you look up to, or he was like the man?
He was the main one. There were a lot of really good guys around. Though you had Skippy, you had One Star, you had Billy McFadden, just so many guys. I mean, you still have a lot of great builders from around
But
here.
what about Bob Hahn? Now that you mention all those guys,
Let me tell you what, Bob Hahn's plugs they work. There's nothing you could say about them. They just worked. A lot of people learned a lot of things from those plugs.
is there anything from that era that you're hanging on to, like, that you wouldn't, not that you wouldn't want to part with, but some sentimental value and
Absolutely. I've got lefties. I've got stuff from Skippy. Personal things that were given to me by the builders. I just can't fish them. I have things from Billy McFadden. I have things from my buddy Tony Napoleon. God rest his soul. One Star lures. I just can't fish them anymore. I'd rather hang on to them and know I have them.
So what happened when I've seen you over the shows, and I'll touch upon that later, but you also took a break last few years that I haven't seen you anywhere. So we need to know why.
Well, November 1st, 2018, I retired from my job, and I was burned out on both ends, and I retired from plug building pretty much at the same time. And I just needed a break. I needed a break to clear my head and to just go fishing and reconnect with my life and my family. And that was about it.
That's cool. That's a good reason.
Yeah, I just needed a break, man. You got to figure I was doing it for over 20 years, plus 25-year career at the same time. And I'm working midnights, I'm working 12-hour shifts, so there's not many hours left in the day for me to do other stuff. So sleep was a rarity, but being a fisherman, I was kind of used to that, so it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, it's amazing the way we managed to cram a bunch of careers into the fishing, the fishing and jobs and family and everything else. Thankfully, most of our fishing takes place at night, so
Yes.
we can at least got an excuse there. Although I just found out my father-in-law passed away last year, and I just found out that he told my wife that he thought I was cheating on her for 30 years because I was never home. He never told me in my face because, I was, like I said, you're always in Montauk,
Right.
and you never bring any fish home. He's like, that's not possible. You can't suck that much. I couldn't explain to him that I really didn't suck that much, but it just was not into bringing fish home. But, that's just part of life. Yeah, you had a sale this weekend, right, at Grumpy's?
Yes, the 25th.
How did that go?
It was outstanding. We had guys lined up from 8:30 the night before, and we were sold out in 40
shit.
minutes.
Oh wow! Yes, I heard your first sale sell out fairly fast.
Yep.
And wow, that's great. I seen the pictures on the internet of guys lining up. I didn't exactly know how they went because
Yeah. Handled really well. A good event. The guys at the store did a great job. They just put on when they put sales events on or special events, they do a fantastic job. They had a bunch of seminars. They had some local sharpies sharing some secrets. It was a great time.
I wonder if that is more of a thing to do in the future than doing these shows, because I know you have a pretty negative view on shows lately.
I wouldn't exactly say it's a negative view, but I kind of think they're going in a direction that's probably really not so good for everybody. I mean, you go to the shows and a lot of times you just have vendors selling things at regular prices. They used to be flea markets back in the day. You could buy used rods, used reels. There was a ton of great deals, old lures, and there still are some of those vendors in them, but the shows are predominantly, aside from the plug guys, it's just, the same stuff you can get everywhere else. So I don't know if they're getting quite the attraction they used to.
What's in your opinion would be more better for the shows if they revert to just the stuff that you can't find in the store?
Well, I think it would be a good idea if they kind of broke the shows down more specifically towards what you're trying to sell. I mean, if you want to have a big plug builder show, have a plug builder show. If you want to have like a tackle expo from the tackle shops, have all the tackle shops come in. Or if you just want to get a bunch of regular guys that have stuff they want to get rid of and sell, you have something like that too. But maybe, keeping them separate because you can't fit it all in one place. It's not going to work. You know that yourself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, there's a downside to this. What happens is like these plug builders, when they get popular, they attract a fairly big crowd. Perfectly normal.
Right.
And then the manufacturer sees the crowd and go like, I got to get my stuff in front of them.
Right.
And then he wants to join in. And then the tackle shops, she's like, I want to get my stuff in front of them.
That's right.
And that's exactly what you end up with the current state of shows.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just,
I don't think it's a bad thing. I just, it loses a little bit of a luster when, I also think it goes through these cycles depending who the builders are and how much demand there is, because, sometimes I see these guys that are like a hot flash in the pan for a year or two. And, the plugs go for 25 to 100. And the third year, he's not even existing anymore. And I don't know what's up with that.
I think a lot of guys rush into this business a little too quickly. And a lot of things can go wrong. You got that design, you put the plug together, you tested it, you fished it, you caught fish on it. That's great. Now you got to have 50 more of them out there, of people to people whom you trust to do the same thing. Believe me, you can't believe the stuff that can go wrong with a plug design. Change one little thing, put a different size hook on it, and you're really causing yourself problems sometimes. So you got to have that time to really test these things out. And if you don't do that and you have some trouble, you're just going to throw your hands in the air and say, I'm done.
So just me being a great artist doesn't
No.
doesn't make me a great plug builder? Damn it.
No.
Not that I can paint anyway. But.
Hey, you know what? If you can make them swim, the rest you can learn.
Yeah, I mean, what was your biggest? What was the hardest part about learning? Was that the testing process for you personally, building plugs? What is it?
The hardest part was the design. Was getting it just so, because I had a lot of demands I wanted from the lures I was going to build. I wanted castability. I wanted them to hold in white water. I want them to be versatile. I want them to be able to dig so you can, tweak your line tie and draw them down, get them under the waves. But I also wanted them to ride high in the top and fish like the old ones used to. So I think that's why it took me so long to get it figured out. I was.
That's a lot to ask from the plug.
Yeah, I was prototyping 4 or 5 years. You start to think you can't do it. You have to make different designs. No, I got lucky. I got it figured out.
I don't know if you're lucky or not, but if it took you 4 or 5 years, you obviously put some time in there.
Yeah.
Now, tell me exactly. You make what, 2 or 3 types of of those bodies, right? Oh, the one is 5-inch. What's the names? I keep forgetting that shit.
I do a 5-inch, 2-ounce plug. It's called the shovel head. And I
Right.
do a 6-inch plug in 2 different weights. I do it in 2.5 and 3.5.
Okay.
Called the Fat Boy.
Right.
I also make pencil poppers. I make needlefish. I make a ton of stuff. I just don't make it all the time.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much the right. I do a lot of hand carved stuff. I do a lot of one-off pieces. Just nothing I could produce on any kind of quantity.
Do you really want to?
I like to be able to get plugs to guys that fish. Nothing gratifies me more in this than seeing people catch fish on my plugs. I don't care how good they look. I don't care how good they look in the wall. When people catch fish on them, that means everything to me. And I try and get enough out there so at least there's a decent amount to go around. But, building them like this, you can only do so much.
I'm sure. And your standard plug is the 2.5 ounce, right? The shovel head. Is it 2.5 ounce or somewhere around there?
2 ounce.
2 ounce. Yeah. Great plug, by the way. But I'm sure a lot of guys have them, and maybe they never got to talk to you. Why don't you give me a little bit how to fish those plugs? What's the optimal conditions? What are they designed for? What do you like to do with them?
They cast very well. They're designed to cast well, pretty much better than most of your metal lip plugs. So you get them out a good distance, you get them out past the breakers, you start swimming them in on the top, you start getting near the waves where you want them to be. Drop your rod tip, give it a couple fast cranks, they drop down about a foot below the surface. You adjust the height by how fast you move them, and you can reel them all the way back to the beach. I like to fish it from the end of my cast right back to my toes. We catch so many fish in that beach lip around here, it's ridiculous. So you got to have that last 20 feet on it to be able to get it into you.
Does the lip of the beach fishing depends on a bait? Because I do know at times, and this is some years, when the fish on sand eels, literally that lip is like gold.
Sand eels, the lip and the beginning of the drop off, and then during the mullet run.
Yeah.
There's times we'll wade out maybe 10 feet into the surf, turn to the left or the right, and just cast parallel to the beach and just hammer fish.
Yeah,
I was taught that by Lefty, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I was casting pencil poppers out after the third breaker and killing myself shaking the rod, and he was behind me. About 25 yards behind me, standing in the lip, fishing up and down the truck, and he was catching fish on every other cast. I looked at him, he laughed, and he waved.
At least you figured it out. Some guys will just keep casting even harder.
Nah, I figured out I was doing something wrong.
What's with New Jersey and metal lips, though? Like, I mean, I know we already covered this. It's basically the structure and stuff, but it's metal lips and pencil poppers, right? It's not just metal lips. Pencil poppers
metal lips, pencils are big. We do good with needlefish, and we have a good sand eel bite. I mean, that's on and off. You never know when you're going to have it. Darters, I'm sure there's guys that catch plenty of fish on darters all over New Jersey. I'm just not one of them. Now, I know you wouldn't go to fish without at least one darter in your bag.
I wouldn't, but if I was fishing a wide open water without an inlet in proximity, I don't know if darter would be in my bag. Eventually, I think it would stay in and be replaced by stuff that I feel it's more suitable, which would be a metal lip or needlefish, pencil popper in the daytime. I mean, I don't think the darters are great plugs without current, personally. Right. It just matters the way you fish, which brings me to the point. People always says, well, you always like knocking the Jersey and metal lips. No, not at all. Well, I think the Jersey did more for metal lip than any other state is my point. But the only reason is because they're so well suited for fishing in that area.
We didn't have no choice. Nothing else was working.
I mean, it's stupid to argue with the locals. Listen, when I went back to Croatia, I'm like looking at these guys fishing, and they're all like fishing these tiny little 3/8 of an ounce jigs and I'm like, wow, something bigger would be, until they showed me that he caught a big fish and it was size of like half a bunker. That was the
Yeah.
big fish. Well, they know what they're doing. You can bring your pencil poppers. Nothing's eating that. There's
Sure.
nothing of that size. So, you're not going to argue with the locals. I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of silly.
It's kind of a hard thing for custom plug builders too, because you really have to. Every area is different. What works in Montauk's not always going to work at the Cape Cod Canal, which is not always going to work at Jersey, which isn't going to work at Hatteras. So you're kind of, for optimum performance, you're area specific.
What kind of lips do you use on your plugs? Just out of curiosity.
I have custom made spoon lips on mine.
Okay, spoon lip. So it's not a Z lip.
I make them sometimes with Z lips.
Okay.
They don't tend to give me the same amount of versatility that the spoon lip does. These aren't Surfsters. Okay. Let's these are not Surfster lips. These are spoon lips. They're designed to make the plug dig. I wanted the smallest lip I could get to drive the fattest body deeper in the water. And that was the problem. That was the design problem. So when we got everything to work together as one, I haven't touched it since.
So you're not full of shit when you say that you actually thought this through.
Oh no! Believe me, if failure is the what do you call it, the measure of success, I measured about 4 or 5 miles because I failed so many times. I can't tell you how many things I burned. My fire pit got worn out one season trying to prototype a new body.
Is there anything in particular during the process of building a plug that you go through that you don't particularly care for or dislike? I don't know. I'm not a plug builder. Drilling, painting, I don't know what that could be.
The machining is fine. The lathe work is fine. I have no problems with that. The cutting, the drilling is good. I enjoy the painting, the finishing. I think the biggest thing that drives me crazy is putting split rings on hooks, putting hook protectors on hook points, sanding the bodies by hand. They get sanded like a couple of different times in different grits. And it's the mundane stuff. Listen, anything you do 100 times in a row is going to drive you crazy. But yeah, those are the worst. Sanding and those little things. I try and sit there and do it in front of the TV. I'm dropping all over the floor. That doesn't work. I leave a hook in the floor. The dog steps on it. I got problems. So I got to stay down in the dungeon and do my business.
And the wife's not helping, obviously.
No. She said, I was your sales force for 20 years. I don't have to touch sandpaper. She sure was.
She was.
Her and
then
my
your daughter took
over.
Yeah. Now she's in school.
They all bailed on me.
We're getting old, Russ.
We sure are.
We had fun, though. They were great. I mean, those were great years.
They were great years. Yes, they were. I miss taking pictures with your son. We used to get a picture every year.
Every year. Then, I think one year my daughter came in and filled in. But is there any particular color that works for you that you like to use? Forget what other people want. What other people want is one of probably of something that can hang on a wall.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I call it. Well, I don't call it. It's been named by. I don't even know where the name came from. We've been using it for years. Called Jersey Killer. It's a white plug with a chartreuse belly and a chartreuse back. I won't go fish without at least one plug that color in my bag. And I have to have a white, and I have to have a black and purple. Aside from that, whatever I throw in.
Does this extend to other plugs in your bag of similar color, or is this just goes to stuff your metal lips, or do you only fish your own plugs?
I pretty much, as far as metal lips and stuff go, I only fish my own. I fish my own pencils, my own needles. I do fish a lot of plastic. I'm not going to lie, but I stick with the same colors. they're what works for me. Colors catch fishermen, shades catch fish. So darks, lights, and brights. You got a dark, a light, and a bright, you're good to go. If you want a backup, you carry a backup too. I don't lose much anymore, so I stopped casting plugs off years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it still happens, but with me, when it happens like 3 times in a row until I figure out something's wrong. I'm not that sharp. Did you obviously have an ability to paint any plug, so you can buy a plastic and just paint them in colors that you like. Obviously, now when it comes to the actual people that you sell plugs to or people that buy the plugs from you, do you paint things with the design of what's going to be hot, or do you just paint whatever strikes your fancy? Like, how does a plug builder that makes wood plugs in limited quad decides what the hell to paint?
I've been doing this a long time, so I've been really doing this kind of since '95. So I have a lot of different paint schemes that I paint. I'm going to say probably 50 to 75 different. I can make 50 to 75 plugs and they'd all be painted different. Certain areas, certain things are starting to go. If by some strange act of whatever happens, we get mackerel in the water again, I make a mean mackerel. And it also depends on where I'm going to sell them too. I mean, if I'm bringing stuff up to the Cape, there's going to be a lot of mackerel. If I'm bringing it to New York, there's going to be a lot of yellow, a lot of black and gold. So kind of,
I've seen Big Rock's basement. There is enough plugs in there that a man can build a retirement fund. But I gotta warn you, he's got a lot of guns.
Don't worry about the guns. It's the hooks. The plugs are hanging from the ceiling.
I worry about your wife more than I worry about the guns. I bet your wife, she can be tough. She's helpful but tough.
Yeah. All she'd have to do is yell at you, and you'd put it back.
Yeah. I think so. Now, you guys had a spectacular fall run last year. For anyone's standards, even yours, Jersey standards, okay? And you got on it. Now you're retired. Did you get on that?
Every chance I got.
You did.
Yes,
okay.
I did.
And tell me about it.
It was amazing. It's like I remember fishing before the moratorium. It was ridiculous. I had, it sounds crazy, but I had a couple of days over 100 fish. And that hasn't happened around here in a long time. But the conditions were set up right, and I think the new regulations are helping. The slot fish has really helped us a lot.
Do you see a lot of guys take fish off the beach as you did in the old days? As many?
No, not nearly. Not nearly.
You think it's the slot they would if they were they out of slot, or they just conservation started to
ours is
sink in?
Our slot is, I think it's 28 to 38 one fish a day per man. Well, you ain't got a lot of bragging rights with a 38-inch fish. So if you're going to keep it, you're keeping it because it's your first fish, or you're going to eat it. So I think there's a lot less waste, and they're not killing the breeders. I think guys have also learned a lot better. I think catch and release has improved. There was a lot of information spread around the Jersey beaches and a lot of flyers and things handed out about how to properly release fish. And actually, I've seen a lot of people abiding by that, So I think that helped the mortality rate a lot.
Well, I think anybody fishing next to you is not keeping a fish because they fear, oh God, they're going to get a beating. I know. So I'm not doing that.
No, God bless you. You want to eat? You want to fish for your family?
No, I meant out of slot. Out of slot.
Oh, yeah, no, you don't want to do that.
But that does change. I think. To me, what I keep going back to is those images that I loved. I did. I'll admit it. I know it's wrong looking backwards, but when you guys had those bunker blitzes on those jetties, JM and all those guys, okay, that we all know well, and the amount of fish that was killed in those pictures, it was insane. All big fish, and I'm not blaming anyone at all. I'm still I was still in awe, but the amount of fish we killed was kind of crazy.
It was. I mean, I remember times walking up to a jetty to start fishing there. Here's a kid, probably 14, 15 years old, in a cut-off pair of jeans and sneakers, walking in off the jetty with a 40-pounder in each hand and a Kmart pole under his arm. A lot of fish were killed back then. A lot.
Yeah. And that wasn't that far ago. I mean,
no.
We kind of put that out of our mind, but that wasn't that many years ago. And then you guys kind of lost that and lost it all. Now, what was so special about this fall? Like, what drove the bite? Was it what was the bait? Peanut bunker?
Peanut bunker, and they stayed tight to shore. Not exactly sure why. I haven't heard a good reason that makes sense yet. I mean, the God almighty, the biomass of bunker we get off is just outrageous anymore. But that was working against us, in my opinion, because it was keeping them offshore. Those bunker are bouncing around a mile out. That's where the fish are. For some reason, we got them in this year. And it was definitely on those bait fish. The winds didn't help. The weather didn't help. Maybe a little bit, but not much.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it. You got all that adult bunker offshore with the fish on it, and then fish says, nah, I don't want to eat that. I'm coming inshore to eat the little guys.
There was a lot of other predators out there this year. I mean, I've never seen so many whales and dolphin, too. And if they show up and forget it. And apparently, thanks a lot, guys, we got seals down here now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's not our fault. That's the Massachusetts guy. That's Massachusetts. I blame them for everything.
Oh, sir, they sent them to you and you chased them
No,
down.
They're too cheap. They're not feeding their seals, and now they're coming down here to eat. Like our property taxes are not high enough. Where are they going? I mean, seriously, you really want to go to beach in Jersey? You know how much that shit costs?
Yeah, right.
Was it primarily a daytime bite, or was it going on 24 hours? How did it work out?
It didn't stop. It was. I've walked away from fish at 3:00 in the afternoon with bluebird skies, with the sun shining, and come back and they're there at night. I don't know. There was no rhyme or reason to it, and it reminded me of a lot of years ago. We haven't had that in a long time, so hopefully it's a good sign.
Yeah, I hope so. I did the podcast with Tom Lynch actually 3 weeks ago. I got to put it tomorrow. I just finished editing, and we spoke on the same subject. And when you live in a neighboring state, it's just the same thing that you guys used to look at Montauk and be like, you heard about all these blitzes, and then like, that tomorrow is going to be different, and tomorrow's better, and you're like, oh, it can't last. And then the day number 3, you're losing your mind. You're like, this cannot go on. And day number 7 is like, this is impossible, but it just keeps going on and on.
We usually would hear about it till day 5, and then on day 6 we would drive up and they'd be gone.
Yeah. No, but that's just my luck a lot of times. But no, I mean, listen, I think I am one of the most honest people when it comes to these kind of things, where I literally feel bad. Now, granted, we had shit seasons in the last few years, but the Jersey really got hurt with no fish during certain periods of the season, which it used to be a fishery in June, and in August you find the bluefish in May, and now it's basically, you got your Raritan bite, early bite, and then you got your late bite, and in between there's not much. So when you guys get a really good bite, I am genuinely happy, But speaking of which, like, you fish all year round. Walk me through your season. Like, how do you do your mindset going in? We're just about into the season now.
We're in the season. I start usually around now, saltwater, and probably in a couple more weeks I'll start freshwater. The shad run will start in the Delaware River. We'll fish that for a couple of weeks, and fish the river as that progresses. And we'll just, we usually get a decent amount of fish at least until June. And then we start fluke fishing and black fishing and just follow it right through the year until we get back to the fall run again. I mean, we had fish until January from the fall. So,
but it did start late.
The heavy hitting started late.
Yeah. Because I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong. Go ahead.
Here's the thing you got to remember. Reports are made by anglers and by guys that are out there fishing. If you have it in your mind that there's not fish out there now, you're probably not going to go. If you don't go, there's no fish getting caught.
Agree.
So it's not happening, except for the handful of guys that are going out there every night and keeping their mouth shut. So, you take the stories with kind of like a grain of salt, unless you've been out there around the clock to find out what's going on, I think that's a big mistake that happens now. People get information so fast on the internet. Before, it took you a couple days to find out what happened. Now it's while it's going on. So, and a lot of guys don't like to fish if they don't get the phone call. The AT&T fisherman.
Well, a lot of us that learned the old ways, you just didn't talk about a bite until it was over. Then you could talk all you wanted.
Yeah.
And you're correct, but I'm not really referring to that. I do respect that. And if I was the only guy on the beach because everybody else is waiting for phone call and I'm catching fish, trust me, I ain't calling anyone. I'm not even calling my mother because you know what? You should have get off the couch and get there because I'm not getting phone call either from that guy. So, you know, that's perfectly normal. But what you said something before is a lefty and mullet run. You don't see that anymore.
No.
That has changed. So your season, you know, September was the mullet run, right?
Right.
September, you know, into October. Well, guess what? Now you're saying is your blitzes or whatever your good fishing starts around Thanksgiving. So what happened to September and October?
There were still fish.
You know, oh no, there's still fish, but you have lost certain runs. I mean, look at the bluefish.
I can't say that we've lost the runs. Sometimes the timing's off. The mullet run seems to be real dependent on the weather. So the weather can throw a curveball into the mullet run, and I don't think it lasts as long as it used to.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's enough fish on them.
And I haven't seen the variety of sizes of mullet over the last couple of years as we used to back in the day. I mean, you'd have them from 8-9 inches long down to the size of your finger, you know? I don't see a lot of that anymore.
Yeah, I felt like there was few years where we had bunker for like 100 miles and nothing on them. But that was definitely felt like a lack of fish or predators. And sometimes on a mullet runs feels that way. However, the bluefish, which basically we could set our clocks on about 1st of May by us and you guys even earlier, you know, that has been really, really weird last few years. Like there's just a short 2-3 days and gone.
That's it. They come in, they hit, and they're gone.
Yeah, so you know, and that hurts a lot because let me tell you something. After you had a long winter, there's nothing like feeding bucktails to bluefish. I'm sorry.
Hey, anybody who doesn't enjoy catching bluefish, I couldn't understand why.
Oh, you shouldn't be fishing. I'm sorry.
I've had 10-pound bluefish fight harder than 30-pound stripers, so I enjoy them. They're tackle busters. They tear everything up. But hey, I build plugs. I don't care.
Not only that, they fight to death. You know, it's like either I'm gonna bite you, like I'm not opening my teeth. First of all, forget that you're gonna open my mouth. That's not happening. You know
so
what
true.
I'm saying? I am gonna clench this thing, and my eyes are gonna follow you. As soon as I open my mouth, I'm gonna try to get your finger in it.
Yep.
You know, where bass is just like, okay, you caught me, stick a finger in my mouth, open my jaw, get the hook out, let me go back home.
Yep.
You know, so those are angry fish, and they are a lot of fun. They are a lot. Hey, listen, Toby, you just mentioned before you got into freshwater. So how is this working out, and how did you get to it? Like, what is that? Anything particular reason?
A buddy of mine and I were talking. A guy I used to work with, and we decided to take some ultralight trout poles and go into a local creek with some 2 and 4 pound test and throw around some little tiny 30-second ounce jigs and see what would happen. And if we didn't catch 75 fish a piece that day, we didn't catch one. And it was more fun than I've had since I was 7. So we kept going back, and that kind of got it started. Then I started bass fishing. Now I picked up the fly rod last year, so that started. I thought I was set in what I was doing, but apparently not.
Yeah.
New avenues open.
Sissy stick is coming out.
Oh, I tell you, wait. You'll get one.
Listen, I am not against trying anything. I'm not one of those closed-minded people. I think it's wonderful when people expand their horizons. I think actually great things come with seeing different and learning different things. You get to appreciate more.
Sure you do. You know, sometimes you just want to fish, and let's use myself for an example. From my front door to driving out onto the beach at Island Beach State Park, it's an hour and 40 minutes. Not travel time, airing down, everything else. You're talking about more than another 3 hours on my day. So I've got the 3 hours tied up already. Plus, if I fish for 5 or 6, or if I try and catch a full tide, I got a 10, 12-hour day. And then I got to, it's a bit much. Sometimes I don't have that kind of time. So if I get 2 hours, I can run down to the creek there in 5 minutes, catch 50 fish, and come home. And believe me, 2-pound test on an ultralight, I don't care what you catch. It's a work. You better know what you're doing.
I think it's wonderful. I always resent it in some ways where people are like, why are you fishing Jones Beach? There's no fish. Well, because it's 5 minutes from my house.
Sure.
And I can sneak out for 2 hours and I don't see find fish and I'm back home and she's like, your coffee's still warm. Yeah, because that I can't run to Montauk or Jersey or Cuttyhunk. You got to have local spots. Anybody that doesn't have local spots is just going to be chasing his tails most of the time. Looking for a Raritan bite, looking for Cuttyhunk bite, looking for getting on somebody else's bite. I don't want other people's bite. I want my own.
Yep. What's always the same story? You should have been here yesterday. You're an hour late, or you left, and it happened an hour after you left.
Speaking of which, what would be, as a guy who's building plugs and been fishing for a long time, what would be the advice that you would give to a guy that's not getting into a plug, but the fish is your plugs? Like, give me some. What's the biggest mistakes and what you see on the beach, and what would you advise?
Guys tend to get mechanical in their cast. They tend to cast out and reel in throw as far as they can and reel it back in. Sometimes they you got to kind of work the water. Follow the waves. My plugs are designed to work in white water. Cast them out. Get them in the white water behind the breaking waves. The same things that you've told in your whitewater videos. I follow the same thing here, and it's true everywhere I've ever fished. Just casting and retrieving without trying to identify structure, you spend a lot of time spinning your wheels, and that's how you get frustrated.
What do you suck at?
I'm sorry?
What do you suck at?
What
are you not good at?
I suck at bait fishing. I am the worst bait fisherman. I am a good caster. I can get it out there. I haven't caught 5 fish on bait in my whole life. Bluefish, maybe. Different story. Striper, I haven't caught 5 stripers on bait. I'm horrible. And I've logged hours out there. I don't know if I'm not paying attention. I don't know what I do wrong.
I don't see any stinky fingers and tattoos in your future.
Terrible bait, man. Terrible.
Listen, we all suck at something. That's my point. I mean, it's I won't admit. I mean, I'll admit that I'm not good at certain things.
Bait fishing is just not me. I don't know. I like to keep moving. I don't fish in one spot for too long either. I'll check a spot. I'll find something something that looks good to me. I'll find a break in the bar. I'll find a small cut. I'll work a trough. I'll maybe throw 20, 30 casts, and I'm moving. Whether I'm on foot or in the truck, I go.
What is the thinking? What is your mental preparation? Besides having a good group of people, we all obviously appreciate getting info from friends. But if you're making these decisions of your own, what are you looking for? Is it the moons? Is it the winds? Is it the bait? Is it seasons? How do you structure that for yourself?
I'm always going to follow, the spring run and the fall run for my biggest catches, and I definitely follow the moon. I want to get out at least 2 days on either side of either moon, and I like incoming water around high tide. So I just, I work my fishing schedule into how the calendar works out, but it's all based on the moon and the tides. I'm pretty big on them, and they seem to hold true for me around here. I've been keeping track of that for quite a few years.
Will the wind affect your judgment of when to go when it comes to the correlation with the tide?
Just let it blow northeast. If it could blow northeast every day, yes, I'd fish every day.
Well, that's pretty funny because, when you talk to some Jersey guy, all they want is west wind and they want a bunker on a beach. You want the northeast. The other guy, you see how this goes? All
right. The common belief is that the bunkers swim into the wind. The west wind, they swim towards the beach. These bunker, 2-3 pounds apiece. They swim where they want. They're like little bluefish. The wind's not blowing them around. The peanuts and stuff, yeah, I'll agree with that works. But the bigger bunker, it's not bringing them in. Not in my opinion, anyway. I could be wrong. Mine is just one of many.
I'm not a believer either in that, but I've been told that so many years that I almost accept it as a fact. To be honest with you, I don't see a small peanut bucket being able to go in the wind any better than a big one. So why are they there?
Right.
I find that the bait on a beach is usually hiding from predators because in the deep water they're exposed. So, why does the west wind work? Listen, I mean, guys have been doing it so long enough.
Big problems we have, too, is beach replenishment. When they get out there and start playing around, they bring the dredge ships out and they start sucking sand off the outer bars and blowing it up onto the beach. They just, everything, all your structure's gone. Your troughs are gone. Your cuts are gone. Your bars are gone. And then you got to wait for the weather to put them back. I don't know why they bother, but beach property,
I've seen the bags that they buried in Montauk, and then they put millions of dollars in sand, and then one nor'easter later, the bags were there and the sand is gone, and I'm going like, there goes millions of dollars just washed off in a storm.
How many
ridiculous?
My father used to say, you jump over the fence and the bull butts you in the ass, it's your fault. The second time it's the bull's fault. The second time you do it, it's your fault.
Yeah,
you're going to keep doing it. It washes away every time, but they keep doing it.
It's freaking politics. But are you guys done with? Are they done with rebuilding the jetties or whatever they're doing in Jersey? Is that a done deal now at this point?
Never. They're never going to be done. One project finishes, another one starts.
Unfortunately,
guys find the ways to get out and fish. They take away your parking. You got to park 2-3 miles away from you where you want to fish. It's always been a constant battle for access here, just like everywhere else.
Well, I think you should play more lotto and think about beach house somewhere in closer proximity to the water. Would be nice.
Yeah, nice little place in Miami wouldn't be bad either.
Yeah, you know what? There's probably much better fishing there than is here, and at least you're gonna enjoy the weather. I fished there a few times, and there's a surf fishing is not what you would think. We're talking about 2023. We're not talking about like Hemingway shit, okay? Everybody should know this shit, but yet you're going down to Florida, 90% guys are bait fishing, and the guys that are plug fishing are killing it, and everybody's like, wow, you can do that shit here? I'm like, dude, it's 2023. This is not Orson Welles over here. How come you guys not doing this shit? But they're not. It's not matter that they don't want to do it. It's just they're not exposed to doing it. Mm-hmm. And it's very much a bait fishing state, and that's fine. But you go down to Miami, you'll have some good time.
Oh, I've had guys go down there with plugs and just had a blast.
Yeah,
and like you said, amaze the locals.
I know. Let me close this out by asking you, what are you watching, reading that's interesting? Give me something. Anything on Netflix? Come on, I need something to watch, man. I'm waiting for the olive oil, and I'm going out of my mind.
Have you watched Yellowstone?
Yes, I'm watching it right now.
Make sure you watch 1883 and watch 1923 along with it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the pre and post thing?
No, it's a pre and a little bit further pre. It's good.
So far, so good. I mean, we've been watching some stuff. I ran out of olive oil 6 months ago, and I've been watching more television than ever in my life, and I'm losing my mind.
Well, you're lucky. Fishing season's starting, so we get you out of the house a little bit.
I have my olive oil is currently in Elizabeth, stuck in customs after 4 months of waiting because they had no bottles in Europe.
Oh, you're killing me. And it's stuck in customs?
Yeah, it's supposed to get released tomorrow, actually. So for those of you who don't know, I import olive oil. I'm not going to bore you with, but it is what it is. It's just
good olive oil.
yeah. You can Adriatic Gourmet. By the time we get this podcast out, it'll probably be in stock after 6 months. But
good. It's good to know. I get my
order. There's supply constraints and all that other stuff. So we've been watching a lot of television. Yellowstone's definitely one of the things. That shit's real good.
Excellent show. Excellent.
All right, brother. Listen, say hi to your wife, and please say hi to your daughter. I haven't seen her in a long time. I know she's doing very well at school.
Yes, she is.
Proud papa.
Yes, yes, I am.
And tell the missus that I miss seeing her at the shows, but doing these little gigs even better for her.
Absolutely. All right, take care, my friend.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much for having me, Jay. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, my friend.